The five biggest heists in history. Number 5. The Hatton Garden Heist, 2015, London in 2015. This story is about a group of elderly criminals known as the Grandpa Gang. Over the Easter weekend, they drilled a hole through the thick concrete wall of a jewelry vault. The burglary was meticulously planned and executed. They stole valuables worth between 20 to 25 million pounds. The Grandpa Gang, composed of older men, surprised the world with their bold and thorough approach. Eventually, they were caught and convicted, but not all the stolen items were recovered. This heist shows that crime knows no age limit and how careful planning and persistence can lead to one of the biggest robberies in recent history. Number 4, the Knightsbridge Security Deposit Robbery, 1987. Our next stop is London in 1987, where the Knightsbridge Security Deposit Robbery took place. This is the story of Valerio Vice, a notorious Italian criminal. Vice and his accomplices entered the Knightsbridge Security Deposit as supposed customers. At gunpoint, they overpowered the staff and began looting the security boxes. Within a few hours, they had seized cash and valuables worth around $60 million. The police were baffled until Vice fled to Italy. Years later, he was captured and extradited to the UK. Yet most of the stolen valuables were never recovered. This robbery illustrates how a well-planned and executed operation can become one of the largest heists in history. Number 3, the British Bank of the Middle East Heist, 1976. We now move to Beirut in 1976 during the Lebanese Civil War to the British Bank of the Middle East. This heist shows how conflicts can be used as a cover for criminal activities. Amid the chaos of the Civil War, armed robbers took the opportunity to attack the bank. With military precision, they used explosives to break into the heavily fortified vaults. What they found was a true treasure trove: gold bars, jewels, and securities worth up to $50 million. The robbers vanished without a trace, and the loot was mostly never recovered. This heist remains one of the boldest and most lucrative in history. In the midst of war, these robbers used the chaos to pull off a spectacular heist that remains unforgettable to this day. Number 2, the Banco Central Burglary, 2005. Let's travel to Brazil, specifically to Fortaleza, for the infamous Banco Central burglary in 2005. This heist is a perfect example of criminal engineering. In an unassuming house a few blocks from the Banco Central, the plan began. The robbers dug a 78-meter-long tunnel, running under streets and buildings, directly into the bank's vault. This tunnel was a technical masterpiece, equipped with lighting and ventilation. Over a weekend in August, the thieves slipped through the tunnel and stole $70 million in cash. The bank wasn't operational until Monday, by which time the thieves were long gone. Despite intense investigations, only a small portion of the money was recovered. This robbery demonstrates how meticulous planning and patience can lead to one of the biggest and boldest heists of all time. And now, number 1, the Central Bank of Iraq Heist, 2003. Welcome to the biggest heist in history. Today we start with the spectacular robbery of the Central Bank of Iraq in 2003. As American troops marched into Baghdad, a breathtaking heist took place. On the orders of Saddam Hussein himself, his son Qusay and his men entered the central bank. In the silent darkness of the night, they broke into the vault and took an incredible $920 million. The image of the empty vault from which huge amounts of money disappeared remains unforgettable. This heist was no ordinary robbery. It was a strategic act during a chaotic wartime. To this day, most of the money has never been recovered. The irony of this robbery lies in its simplicity and the sheer size of the stolen amount, marking this as the largest bank heist in history. A robbery during wartime that is remembered for its audacity and the disappearance of an almost unimaginable sum of money. Feel free to follow this channel to avoid missing any new content. Disclaimer: the images are AI generated and are for illustration purposes. The stories on this channel are researched to the best of our knowledge.